Oh, we're recording. Holy goodness gracious. Welcome to Fun with Lund. This is an absolutely insane episode that we're coming with today. We've uncovered so much in the last 2 weeks since we've been away. But let me start by saying this. Stefanie, you look delicious. What have you been doing with yourself in the last 2 weeks?
Oh my, in the last 2 weeks, I went outside, got a lot of sun, was enjoying myself, found out some interesting things about America, and undiscovered things with you, which was fun. And maybe that's why I'm looking good, because I'm spending time with my husband.
I have to say that I feel like covering you in mustard, relish, and ketchup and just nibbling you up. And that actually leads right into the main topic of today's show. And honestly, this is a pretty heavy one. I'm going to jump into the presentation and we're going to start this. As everybody knows, this week, Harris and Trump engaged in their first and perhaps only debate. And key topic was the state of Ohio. For those of you who don't know where Ohio is, I outlined it here on the map for you. And if you don't know anything about Ohio, it's known for a few different things. One, Skyline Chili in Cincinnati. This is perhaps the best chili in the United States. It's certainly the best in Ohio. Everybody loves it. Nobody has ever said anything bad about Skyline Chili in the history of the restaurant. The other thing that Ohio is known for is one of the worst football teams in the history of the country, and that is the Cleveland Browns. Although over the last couple of years, they've been making a bit of a comeback, and you can see they even have this fancy logo, which is going to come up later in our presentation. Ohio has traditionally been a hotbed for the U.S. elections and for politics in general. It's also the home state of J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate. Ohio has a population of approximately 12 million people. It's about 80% white, 20% non-white. And their state motto is, "With God, all things are possible." Steph, what do you have to say about Ohio?
Well, you mentioned the Skyline Chili, so I found out a little bit more about the Skyline Chili. Well, they are famous for their cheese conies and their three-ways. And the best part of that is that the restaurant was opened by immigrants. The coney is a hot dog in a bun covered with chili, iced onions, and amount of shredded cheddar cheese. The three-way is spaghetti. Yes, spaghetti covered with their special chili, topped with, again, cheddar cheese. Seems like cheddar cheese is the most important ingredient after their special chili. And don't forget, it was invented by an immigrant.
With recipes like that, truly with God, all things are possible. The other thing that Ohio is known for, dating back to May 4th, 1970. You'll notice this iconic picture on the upper right. You will notice the stormtroopers on the upper left, the National Guard. And 4 students were killed at Kent State University in Ohio on May 4th, 1970. President Nixon sent in the National Guard to take control of student protests, and the result was 4 dead. And Nixon's words afterwards, 4 bums dead at Kent State. I'm wondering what bums really meant. Is it like an Epstein Island kind of thing where he's thinking about bums? You start to wonder if he was a top, if he was a bottom. Perhaps he had something with Kissinger. Really don't know. And as tempted as I was to do a deep dive into Nixon and bums, I didn't want to get too far off track this week. But with respect to all things possible with God, perhaps there are some families who are waiting for the Lazarus effect for their loved ones. But 4 4 bums dead at Kent State is the other thing that Ohio is known for. The irony is that of the 4 students shot, one of them was actually an ROTC student who was willingly going to Vietnam after graduation, yet he was still shot. It's almost like the soldiers, stormtroopers were firing indiscriminately. But with respect to the stormtroopers, I think what we notice here is that the Cleveland Browns' new logo looks an awful lot like a stormtrooper's helmet. And May the 4th is a Star Wars term. May the 4th be with you in Ohio. And let it be known that the stormtroopers were simply serving the Empire. They were simply following orders. And of course, I'm wearing my stormtrooper shirt today in solidarity with the state. This is a school shooting that I think the state can get behind. So may the 4th be with you. Back to the debate. President Trump had a rather interesting quote. He said, "In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there." This is Donald Trump, September 10th, 2024, in the debate with Harris. This is wild. You can see here's a picture of Trump with cats. I think what stands out about this picture to me, let's get right into it. There are 3 hands in this picture. Trump is showing that he has 3 hands. What is he trying to let people know? It's well known that different humanoid type beings throughout the galaxy have 3 limbs or 3 things that are coming out of them. That not everything in the galaxy is symmetrical. On Earth, yes, symmetry. In the galaxy, no. So why is Trump deciding to show his 3 hands now? Is he an alien? Is he showing everybody that he is an alien? Is he revealing this? Is there a connection between Trump and the Day of the Dead? So there was a movie that I saw, it must have been 1990, and it was about a demon with 3 arms and their connection to the Day of the Dead. This demon would come out every year on the Day of the Dead and would pick a soul, would grab that person by 2 hands, and then the 3rd hand would come out of the chest and rip out the heart of that person. And I can't help but wonder if Trump is that demon alien. And the connection to the election day is that this year the election day is November 5th. But in some of the cultures, the Day of the Dead is celebrated on November 6th. So there's an entire week between Halloween and the Day of the Dead in which there is this festival. And maybe Trump was originally waiting until November 6th to show the world that he is in fact a demon, but I think he's jumping the gun. I think he's jumping the gun. This is very strange to me. I don't know why he would reveal this. Of course, the 8 cats. 8 is the symbol of success. It is also symbolizing balance and abundance and infinity. It represents cycles. It represents karma. There's a cycle that Trump is coming back. Steph, what do you think of the 3 hands of Trump?
I think actually it is great. 3 hands, you have an advantage. For example, when you wash your face, you can also comb your hair. So you have 3 hands, you can do more things at once, or you brush your teeth while putting on lotion on your body. Or even if you're really a workaholic, you get work done faster if your hands are needed. If you have 3 brains, maybe that would also work a little bit better instead of having just 1 brain. So I think 3 makes a good number.
So that's actually a reason to vote for Trump. So this sounds like an advantage that he has over Harris in the general election, that this 3rd arm would actually make him more productive, potentially 50% more productive. Because if somebody can do so much with 2 hands, imagine how much they could do with a 3rd hand. So maybe this is a reason why we should vote for Trump. Interesting. Of course, when we're looking at aliens and we're looking at other beings that have 3 things, You don't need to look any further than Total Recall, which of course was a documentary about life on Mars, where some of the humanoid women there had 3 breasts. And what do we know about Mars? Well, his buddy Elon Musk is planning a trip there. So maybe part of that trip is to bring Trump home to Mars. If that's in fact where he's from, he has the 3 hands, he can grab 3 boobs at the same time. There's really a lot to consider here. What do you think of this stuff?
I always thought women are from Venus and men are from Mars, but seems like 3-boobed women are from Mars and not from Venus. And did Elon Musk create those Martian women so he has someone to play with?
Well, if the female species has 3 boobs, I want to know what the male species has 3 of. Is it hands? Is it 3 balls? Like, is it 3 wieners? We don't know, but I wish Elon Musk would take off the spacesuit so that I could see what he's hiding underneath there. For now, all we have evidence of is 3 hands, but there's really a lot more to the story. And okay, so we got off track. We need to get back to Ohio and talk about what's happened in Ohio over this past week. The first thing that's happened is cats have taken to the streets to protest immigrants. There have been wild protests in the streets of Springfield and the streets of Columbus, and the cats are going absolutely mad. And we have to wonder what Harris is thinking here. Will she go the road of Nixon, and will she unleash the National Guard or the National Guard dogs? I guess we don't really know what could be unleashed, but she's going to have to get these cat riots under control. Will she do that with National Guard dogs, or will she do that with animal control officers? And my thought is this, that what she needs to do is keep the dogs and the cats divided. She needs to have a divide and conquer strategy, because if the dogs stand in solidarity with the cats, she's going to have a potential revolution on her hands in Ohio. And what I've already heard rumors of is that the dogs and cats are coming together to fight against animal racism, and they're starting to ban phrases like raining cats and dogs, that they are seeing those phrases as absolutely racist, as species supremacist. And Harris needs to be worried, because Trump has the cat vote right now. If he gets the dog vote, he could win this thing. Of course, social media is going wild. We have hashtag Cat Lives Matter, but I would expect this to be changed in the near future to something like maybe Dog and Cat Lives Matter. Steph, what do you think?
I think it's great that the cats go out and protest on the street, because I looked up also the laws, since under most state and federal laws, animals are regarded as property and have literally no legal rights of their own. How many times have you heard a cat person say, no, my cat doesn't like to be touched, but she likes to be touched, but only on her terms? And what we've learned also from other movements, like, okay, Cat Lives Matter movement, and there are other movements like the Me Too movement, because we know that nobody likes to be touched without consent, right?
Now, that's absolutely true. Harris has been quoted as saying, okay, if these cats want to test me, curiosity will kill these cats. So I think she has something big planned, and these cats really need to be careful, because Harris is not playing around. Harris is not playing games. Curiosity will kill these cats. That takes us to another endeavor. In light of the recent protests coming out of Springfield and Ohio, capitalism at its ugliest has shown its disgusting head. Now, restaurants, understanding that immigrants are interested in eating pets, are starting to market directly to the immigrants. And these are pictures from the menu of this particular restaurant, the Wiener Circle, Vienna beef. You know, Steph, you're from Austria. This must be very offensive to you. But it's quite clear that they are force-feeding these dogs in order to fatten them up and feed them to the immigrants. This is just offensive to me. Steph, what do you think?
When I saw those pictures first, I was thinking about, I've never seen that somebody force feeds dogs. So I was a little bit shocked. But then I was thinking a little bit further as well, like, there are restaurants or like people out there who force feed geese and then sell it as foie gras, like the liver, the bigger liver. So I suppose that this happens maybe to those dogs as well. Maybe they get force fed because there is something really, really special coming out of their body, like some kind of body part, which is then really like an exquisite, delicious dish which can be eaten.
Yeah, I imagine the marbling would be absolutely outstanding on these little Dachshund. That the marbling of the meat would be similar to maybe a Japanese Wagyu or something like that. But it's just, this is the doghouse, man. That poor little buddy. He must be diabetic. He must be diabetic. But this is a tradition that's been going on in the US for a long time. These little Dachshund dogs, they have been exploited in this country for years. 2 for $1 and just covered in mustard, covered in condiments, stuck between 2 buns, National Hot Dog Day. And the terminology that they've been using, they use the term hot dogging. And traditionally that does mean like to grandstand in front of an audience, right? To show off and revel in front of others. And that's what these people are doing. They're showing off. They're showing their superiority over these animals. And this is absolutely offensive to me. This little guy up here in the upper left-hand corner, that's a Dachshund equivalent of veal. It's just a baby. It's kept in a cage. And then it's put between 2 pieces of bread and served to the public. Steph?
My heart melts because those dogs look so cute. And I just wonder who can eat those. The ones previous, like the ones which get force-fed, I understand. But these buddies here, they don't have even, there's nothing on them what you can eat properly. So poor baby. Maybe we need to give it a little bit more to eat so that it then would be more, that there would be more meat on it. But in general, like it's poor them, but also understandable if there is some deliciousness into this kind of meat.
It's a delicacy. It's like veal. It's like veal. It's just marketed as street meat. Street meat. 2 for $1. It's absolutely offensive. And I'm sorry, anybody watching at home who is easily offended by cruelty towards animals. Personally, I'm a vegan, so this is disgusting to me. But it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. This next slide is absolutely disgusting. They're marinating pets before they cook them and eat them. On the left, that little Chihuahua is covered in pesto. They're soaking that dog in pesto before they roast it. In the middle, those blankets, these robes, they're all covered in spices and oils. Those animals are forced to sit in those wraps for hours, some even days, before they go into the oven. Then they're garnished with little vegetables over their eyes, so their eyes taste sweeter. Yeah, Ohio, home of the Buckeyes, because those savages in Ohio, those refugee savages, they're eating animal eyes, and they cover them in vegetables first to try to sweeten them. And in the lower right-hand corner, this collie, they're being soaked in cream sauce before they're being cooked. Soaked in cream sauce. This is absolutely disgusting. Steph?
Oh my, those dogs. It's an interesting approach that they marinate the meat before they even slaughter them. I feel like they do that because it makes the animal relaxed. And when animals are relaxed before they get slaughtered. I suppose that the meat is better than if they would be like freaking out, running around and hear other animals screaming. So I think it's an interesting approach. It's a new approach. While I was looking at those pictures as well, I was wondering what kind of meat color do dogs and cats have? Is it like poultry or is it like cow meat?
Folks, the next slide we're going to show you is even worse. Personally, after seeing this one, I can never eat pesto again, but this next one gets worse. I'm sorry. And this is what they look like after being cooked. This is what they look like. Look at the dog. You can see the eyes. You can see the eyes. They were covered in cucumbers. Look at how sweet those eyes look. You can see these little hot dog wiener buddies here. Those are the cats. But they're still smiling. The only positive side of this situation is that those little guys, when they went out, they were probably happy. They probably went out peacefully. But look at this corn dog. He still has his ears. What are these Haitian savages doing in Ohio? Oh, every dog has his day. Steph?
Looking at the third picture, so the left corner in the second one, is there like a dog with a sausage on top? Am I seeing that right? And then there's mustard on top of the sausage? Because this is like a double meat. It feels like a double meat dog burger or some kind of new invention.
It's even worse than that. It's even worse. So that picture in the lower left-hand corner, those were female dogs that were carrying a child in the womb. And in the Haitian community, that's a delicacy, that you roast a pregnant dog and serve it with mustard on top. And you just split it open, and they have a name for it. They call it the double duty dog. And it's absolutely disgusting. But this has become business as usual. Business as usual in Springfield, Ohio. And it actually gets worse. It actually gets worse. In this next slide, you're going to see how terrible things have really become in Ohio. So these are the bourgeois dogs of Ohio. These are species traders. Okay, they've turned on their own kind for profit. You could regard this as dog-on-dog crime. You could call this race trading. You could call this a number of different things. But look at these three. On the far left, he's guilty and he knows it. He's eating one of his brethren while sipping on a Coke. That's disgusting. And you can still see the cucumber slices in there that were over his eyes, over the eyes of his little buddy that he just roasted. In the middle, this guy is so smug. He's just looking at the camera like, look at me. I'm eating a dog. You son of a bitch. And this guy on the far right, a Dachshund. He's just sitting there, heartless. No remorse. He doesn't give a damn. He made his money. This makes me sick as a dog. Steph?
Looking at that picture before, I thought it's just the bigger dogs selling the smaller ones, but it seems like also the smaller ones sell small dogs, so that they don't care. I first thought there will be like a hierarchy, like races, like you mentioned, so the higher dogs will sell the lower ones, but no, it is all over the place. I can picture that with other races too, that it's not just dogs selling dogs, but also dogs selling cats, and cats selling dogs. Maybe also dogs start to sell humans.
This is American capitalism at its ugliest. These are not the values that America was founded on, yet here we are. This is even worse than slavery. Even worse than slavery. Because we should know better by now. In 2024, we should simply know better. But Steph, there's hope. There's hope because some of the animals and some different groups are fighting back. So this picture on the left has circulated on the internet recently. Okay, this is not from Springfield. This is from Columbus, Ohio. So it's not the same. And we don't know if this gentleman is Haitian or not. What we do know is that this gentleman is walking down the street with some kind of large fowl. It could be a goose. It could be a peacock. For all we know, he is a zoologist and he is actually doing some field work in Columbus, Ohio. That could be a laptop bag on his other shoulder. So what we don't want to do is jump the gun and say that this is an immigrant that's killing geese or ducks and taking them from the pond and eating them. But the point is that when this image started circulating, Taylor Swift's cats, they had enough. They had enough. They came out and they said, look, we need to stop this speciesism. We need to stop this extreme racism. And the cats are now endorsing Trump, okay? Taylor Swift endorsing Harris, the cats endorsing Trump. I'm sure there are some very lively discussions happening at home between Swift and the cats, but this is the state of the world that we're in right now. This is absolute madness. And of course, Columbus, Ohio and Springfield, Ohio, are about a 45-minute drive from each other on the I-70. So there's no way that this could be a Haitian immigrant from Springfield, right? So it's just simply not possible. The other thing that I think is quite interesting on the lower right-hand corner, you'll notice that this is Mother Goose and her gander, and they have now come out to support Trump, okay? The gander saw this picture and said, hey, I cannot support Harris. I need to support Trump. Trump is sticking up for animal rights. Mother Goose going right along. Mother Goose and gander endorsing Trump. Steph?
I think it's great that the cats of Taylor Swift came out to endorse Trump because it needs VIPs to help and get votes. So it is good that those cats are like protesting against it and say, okay, we have enough. We want to change the world, and this change will happen with Trump and not with Harris. So this is cool. I think it's great that those three cats came out and supported him.
You know, birds of a feather flock together. And what we're seeing here is just animals coming together to fight against a common evil. And I think that's beautiful. That really is interspecies beauty. And it shows that there is hope. There's hope for humanity. What we're going to cover now is a pretty intense history of some of the animal abuse that has happened in the United States over the past 35 years or so, particularly coming out of Hollywood. And we're going to start with the television show Alf. Steph, please tell us about Alf.
So everybody knows Alf. We call him in German Alf, not Elf. But that's a minor detail. His name originally is Gordon Shumway. He is an inhabitant from the planet Melmac, and he accidentally crashes his spaceship into the Tanner family's garage on planet Earth. Willie Tanner names him Alf or Elf, short form for alien life form. And the Tanners hide Alf from the military officers, and Alf becomes a member of the family. What we also can see here in the pictures is that he loves cats.
What do we know about Alf and this television show? Well, first of all, this was actually a reality TV show. Alf, when it was released in 1986, was the first reality TV show of its kind, very similar to Big Brother. So this family discovered an alien. The alien comes into their house, and there are cameras throughout the house taking constant video and sound of what was happening in the house. And there was Lucky the cat. And for Lucky the cat, he's quoted as saying that it was like being trapped behind enemy lines, living in constant fear. Lucky made it 4 seasons not being eaten by Alf, trapped in this Big Brother type house. However, not all of Lucky's friends were so lucky. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, this was an episode where Lucky had his girlfriend over, and Lucky went to the kitty litter box, and when Lucky came back, the girlfriend had been eaten by Alf. And it has been said that Alf was eating so much pussy on set that he was constantly coughing up hairballs. And I can only imagine what this was like for the cats being trapped on set with this alien monster. And of course, this started what was known as the Meow 2 movement. And many years later, after the show came off the air, Lucky the cat went to social media and started the Meow 2 movement to try to get some recognition for all the pussies that lost their lives to Alf's insatiable appetite for pussy. And it's really a tragedy. So my heart goes out to Lucky, but I think with some therapy, he's eventually going to be okay, and there should be some reparations. I assume they're going to court at some point, and he's going to get paid out for the trauma that he was put through by that son of a bitch, Gordon, also known as Alf. All right, the next show that we're taking a look at, which is absolutely horrific, is Garfield.
Yes, Garfield. Who doesn't know Garfield? Look at him, how he's sitting there. Garfield is a lasagne-loving, lazy, selfish, overweight cat who lives together with his dog buddy Odie and his human friend John. His main hobbies are chilling out, sleeping, and watching TV. What I also found out is he doesn't like Mondays and he likes to make pranks on his owner, John. So it's a fun series. Whoever saw Garfield loved him, but I think you will explain a couple of more things about Garfield.
Garfield got his start in Hollywood thanks to Harvey Weinstein. Garfield's name was not originally Garfield. It was a nickname that Harvey Weinstein came up with for him. And Garfield is Latin for sexy feline. And they started off just being friends. It seemed very platonic, and they were sharing their passion and interest for film. On one of the film sets, Harvey Weinstein showed up with a very nice kitty litter box for Garfield, and he gave it to him. And Garfield accepted it as a gift. A couple days later, Harvey Weinstein said, "Hey, I want to watch you use the kitty litter box." And at this point, Garfield didn't know what to do because he accepted the gift. Harvey Weinstein, very powerful producer. And now he was going to watch him pee in the kitty litter box. And right then, Garfield knew that he was in the grips of Harvey Weinstein. Garfield got touched by Harvey Weinstein in the kitty litter box. And Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield, just turned a blind eye. So he was getting paid by Harvey. He didn't care. Odie, Garfield's lifelong friend, the dog, was never harassed by Harvey, and he just turned a blind eye as well. Everyone was getting paid. Nobody cared. Garfield is quoted later as having said, "Wish I died, didn't have 9 lives." And one of the stories that came out of this is absolutely horrific. So when things were at their worst, Harvey used to play a game with Garfield called Cat Got Your Tongue, in which Harvey would pretend that his penis was a cat's tongue and it had to go back into Garfield's mouth. Harvey Weinstein would pretend that his penis was Garfield's tongue and it had to go back in his mouth. And he would say things to Garfield like, "Where does the tongue go? Where does the tongue go? Oh, the tongue. Cat got your tongue? Cat got your tongue?" And he would shove his penis into Garfield's mouth. And Harvey Weinstein would give Garfield drugs. There was catnip on the set of every single shoot that they were doing. Garfield spent most of the production high. He had no idea who he was, what he was doing. He was just taking drugs all the time. And of course, later after Garfield sobered up and went through therapy, we had the hashtag pussycat dignity. And I think it's good for Garfield that he's able to come out and talk about this, but he also wasn't alone. So there's one more element to this story, and that is the well-known screenwriting book in LA called Save the Cat. You'll notice that's actually Garfield on the cover. That Blake Snyder was sending a message to the industry that, hey, Harvey Weinstein has to be stopped. He's been taking advantage of Garfield and other cats, and it's absolutely disgusting. So thank you, Blake Snyder, for eventually standing up for Garfield and helping him get through this. The next show that we have to look at, this is a tough one for me because I grew up watching this show. This is The Simpsons. Steph, tell us about The Simpsons.
The Simpsons live in Springfield, USA. By the way, as European, I didn't know that in every state of the US there is a Springfield. which was interesting for me. So we don't know which Springfield they live in the USA. We don't know. This Simpson family exists of 5 people: Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and baby Maggie. So in different episodes, you experience different scenarios. Once Bart will get caught in the classroom for doing pranks, and another time Lisa will be president, and so on. But they also have a little friend, and this little friend is called Santa's Little Helper. He is a greyhound dog and appears in The Simpsons as well. Most of the time he has a minor role or appearance. And as you can see, there are a couple of pictures which John will explain a little bit further.
Santa's Little Helper was featured in episode 1 of The Simpsons in 1989. Santa's Little Helper has been a staple of this entire show from the very beginning, and he has gone through a lot. In this lower picture, you can see that Santa's Little Helper was used to breed 101 little puppies. And these 101 little puppies were sold to Mr. Burns, the billionaire. When those babies were taken away from Santa's Little Helper, he explained that a part of him died inside, and life on set became a living hell. And all of these other animals in the top, they were forced to watch this. They were forced to watch Santa's Little Helper breed, spit out puppies, and bring them over to that capitalist pig, Burns. And when I say capitalist pig, I don't mean pig in a negative way. Like Spider Pig is up here. Spider Pig is a very good character from The Simpsons. Spider Pig, Spider Pig. That's different. I'm talking about him in like a truly Marxist sense. I'm talking about Mr. Burns as just capitalist swine, just absolute filth. And there's no disrespect to Spider Pig. So Mr. Burns, he was grooming those puppies. And what did he eventually do with them? The 101 went down to 25, and he planned to turn them into a tuxedo. Fortunately, Homer and the family rescued them, rescued those little buddies. But what you can see above is that those animals did not forget what they saw, especially the elephant. An elephant never forgets. All of the animals from the set were traumatized by having to watch this kind of abuse. And over the life of this show, that abuse has been normalized. But fortunately, Santa's Little Helper has come out with the help of the hashtag WOOF2. The WOOF2 movement was created to help Santa's Little Helper, the 101 little greyhound puppies, and the mom of all of those. So this story has a bit of a happy ending, but the animal husbandry that happened on set was absolutely atrocious. Animal husbandry is rape. It is rape. And then the children were stolen and sold to a billionaire. So thank goodness that Santa's Little Helper was able to get help as part of that WOOF2 movement. The next show, the next movie, is a tough one as well. Free Willy. Steph, tell us about Free Willy.
Free Willy. Willy is an orca which got caught by whalers, and the whalers sell him to an amusement park. But lucky him, there in this amusement park, he meets a boy called Jesse. He gets to know Willy, and they become friends. The boy, Jesse, teaches the orca some tricks. Jesse finds out that the owner wants to kill him and wants to get the money for the insurance. Jesse wants to interfere with that plan, and spoiler alert, he wants to free Willy.
Free Willy is a movie about the orca whale sex trafficking that happens through SeaWorld. And you can see in this upper left-hand picture here that that's part of a video of Willy rolled over on his back, getting jerked off by 3 of SeaWorld's staff in front of a live audience. And what they do is they tempt him. So first of all, they starve Willy. SeaWorld starves Willy. And then they say, if you want the fish, roll over. Willy has to perform sex tricks for food while being held in captivity at SeaWorld. They jerk him off in front of the entire audience. And at the end of each of the shows, that orca swimming pool tank looks like a giant bowl of egg drop soup. There is stuff floating all over the place in that pool. In between shows, they go out there with the pool skimmers and get that egg drop soup out of the water. Willy has opened up about this And he talks about how he was violated in front of an audience just multiple times per day. There would be a show at noon, there would be a show at 2 p.m., a show at 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and then the evening show with special lights. And I don't even know how he could discharge that many times in a day. They must have been injecting him with zinc. They must have been injecting him with boron and vitamin D. I don't know how he could produce that much semen to put on that number of shows during the day. And it's absolutely horrific and disgusting. Willy talks about stolen semen, stolen souls. So all of his discharges that ended up in that pool could have been little baby Willies. And that wasn't their fate. Their fate was to get picked out with a skimming net and then just dumped off to the side. All those little stolen semen souls. Absolutely horrific. And years later, when Willy finally was able to escape, he did start the hashtag Orca Sex Traffic to try to bring attention to this very, very serious matter. God bless you, Willy. God bless you. The final show that we're going to discuss is perhaps the most terrifying, disgusting, and disturbing of this entire series. Steph, tell us about Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo, look at them. So the series features 4 teenagers, Fred, Daphne, Velma, and Shaggy. And their talking Great Dane, Scooby Doo. They solve mysteries while traveling using brightly colored van called the Mystery Machine. But what you can see here on the right side, this little feller proudly putting his hands on his chest or hips. He is the nephew of Scooby Doo, and his name is Scrappy. Scrappy would often assist Scooby-Doo and his friends in solving mysteries. And Scrappy, this little fella, saves Scooby-Doo's life not only once, but several times from monsters. John?
The story of Scrappy Doo is one that's all too common in Hollywood. It's a story about a young, talented child being exploited by those around him. Scooby-Doo was not there to support Scrappy. Scrappy has said many times, "I thought they were my friends." But in fact, they passed him around like dipping sauce for a corn dog. The mystery of what happened in the back of the mystery van is no longer a mystery. Innocence was lost. Scrappy's innocence was lost in the back of the mystery van. He was so young. He was too young to know what doggy style is. Yet in the back of that mystery van, that mystery was uncovered for him. It's absolutely terrible. Look at him. He's so strong and he's so brave. You can see how the others are treating him. Oh, they're kissing him, they're hugging him. It all started just being friendly like that until it was time to go to the mystery van, and they unsolved the mystery of what was in Scooby-Doo's pants. When Scrappy finally was able to talk about this, he started the hashtag Bukkake Bad. And I don't want to think about what happened in the back of that mystery van. All I can say is, be brave, little buddy. Be brave. Steph, that is today's episode. And I think we uncovered a lot of topics. I think we need to ask Magic 8 Ball a question. Magic 8 Ball, is there hope for the pets of Ohio? Magic 8 Ball, is there hope for the pets of Ohio? Fingers crossed. The answer is outlook good. Outlook good for the pets of Ohio. Maybe this means a Trump victory in November. Even if he's an alien with 3 arms, we have to save the pets. We have to save the pets. Magic 8 Ball has confirmed the outlook is good. With God, all things are possible, as we know, in Ohio. Steph, who is our sponsor today?
It is Bead per bead. Dun, dun, dun. There you can see we have 3 new uploads or 3 new rings, let's say that. Here we see variation with gold and turquoise. The left one is with a Swarovski stone. By the way, Swarovski comes from Austria and especially from Tyrol, my part where I am from. The right side is a gold, turquoise and red ring. I feel like they look a little bit festive and would be a good suit for festivities like, for example, Christmas. And for Christmas time, you can wear gold, which would really be suitable. Here we have one which looks like a little bit of a medieval design, has silver and blue, and the silver one is also with some kind of crosses. And yep, if you want to feel a little bit more in the medieval times, wear such a ring. And here we have a decent ring, which is silver, lila and red. It's really like dives more or less into the journal in the background. So it's a really nice color. It's not like pompous, like exploding, like here I am. It's more like, okay, a smaller, like saying, okay, here I am, but I am here. Oh, yes.
Absolutely beautiful. I just realized I didn't like this picture here. So fantastic. As we all know, I never go anywhere without my bead per bead earring. I keep it on my trigger finger when I need to go bang, bang, Feuer frei. So big shout out to Bead per Bead, our sponsor. Reach out to them, mention Fun with Lund, get yourself a discount. You can negotiate with them. Everything in life is negotiable. Fun with Lund discount at Bead per Bead. So, Steph, with that, I think we are off. And what else do we have to say? Oh.
So we say, fuck this place!